beings. Today is also going to be another emotional day. So yesterday we went to the Genocide Museum, and it was one of the most emotional experiences I think I've ever had. And today we're going to go to the killing fields. So just a little tip, I know how I was yesterday. There is not a chance on this planet that I would have been able to leave there and then go straight to the killing fields. It's something that you should do over the 2 days, I've been told, and after yesterday I fully agree. So we're going to get on our bike. We're about half an hour drive away from there, and I'll show you what it looks like along the way. Hello, so we have just arrived at the Killing Fields Genocide Centre. Ahead of us, or behind me, is, I think that's the museum. I've seen pictures of it and stuff all over the internet, so we're not really sure what to expect here, because I kind of just expected a field with a bit of information. Obviously that's not what we've turned up to, so we've got another headset. It's $6 entry per person, and you get your audio included. And there are stops throughout that give you all of the information you need to know. So I'm not sure if it'll be like yesterday where there'll be parts that I can't film, but we will try and show you what we can and explain to you what we know as we go. This is where we are, and this is what we've got to walk. Chung Ek, which is known to us as the Killing Fields, was the final destination to what can only be described as a hellish journey for up to 3 million people. This killing field spot is only one of 300 killing fields in the whole of Cambodia, and the man who I'm listening to was just saying that within 3 years, 8 months and 20 days of Pol Pot being in ruling of this country, was responsible for the deaths of over 3 million people. Upon arrival to Chung Ek, prisoners didn't know what to expect. They had been told that they were being transported to new areas or new homes. They were shackled and blindfolded and arrived in the middle of the night to avoid anyone outside seeing them. Each person had to be ticked off a list. To make sure that no one had escaped or ended up there too early, this process was very thorough. Execution were only meant to happen after prisoners had made a confession. They ultimately and unknowingly signed their own death certificates. Each truck that arrived at Chung Ek usually had around 30 prisoners. The truck made monthly drop-offs, usually around every 3 weeks. But after each prisoner was accounted for, they would be immediately executed. As the years went on and numbers rose, up to 300 people were being transported to Chung Ek at any one time. This made it impossible for the prison guards to execute everyone upon arrival. This then forced the staff into building a holding unit where prisoners would be kept for the following days. The palm sugar trees that you see around the site were used to end lives also. They claimed that bullets were too expensive to use on executions, so instead, death was caused by hitting victims in the head with objects such as hammers, bamboo sticks, or garden tools. They then slit their throat with the razor edge of the palm sugar branch, which stopped anyone's ability to cry out, and effectively decreasing the chance of outsiders knowing what was going on. While we walked around, you can see many dips in the ground. These dips are the actual pits where victims had to kneel on the edge whilst being struck across the head, where they then fell into the pit, had their throat cut, and then chemicals poured onto their bodies. This was for 2 reasons. Reason 1 was to hide the stench of the decaying flesh, and 2, because a lot of victims were still buried alive. The chemicals were then used as a way to finish the job. Some of the mass graves have huts built over to protect them, as some pits have over 400 bodies inside, some still uncovered. As you walk around, due to the weather, the rainwater brings both bones and teeth to the surface. This also can include clothes. Each month, staff at Chung Ek check the area for these and keep them safe. Up to 19,000 bodies have been recovered from the Chung Ek fields, and there are many more undiscovered. But as a measure of both respect and to stop damage from happening, staff at this memorial had wooden platforms built. But as you can see, in between you still find both bones, teeth, and still sometimes see rags on the floor. As you can see, beside the grave is a tree. This is known as the killing tree. Many babies and young children lost their life here. They were held by the ankles and their heads were smashed against the wooden bark. This is whilst their mothers were watching at the pit. Once both had been executed, they too were flung into the pit, many of them raped and all of them naked. They were then buried. When the killing fields were discovered in 1979, the bark of this tree held hair, brains, fresh blood, and still flesh. The bands around have been left by visitors to the museum. It was started by the Japanese as a sign of respect for the lives that had been lost in this awful tragedy. In this commemorative stupa found in the middle of Chung Ek, you will find over 5,000 skulls and up to 19,000 pieces of bone. It is stored in the 73-story high cabinet. Each piece has been recorded, analysed and tested, given the age, gender and cause of death. On May 20th every year, a ceremony is held here as a mark of remembrance. This is for everyone who lost their life during the tragic years of Pol Pot's ruling. So we're finished up at the killing fields, and it was one of those places where I could have vlogged all the way around. However, I didn't really feel comfortable or want to stop the recording or stop and just talk about it. I wanted to just be there in the moment, so you can't do both in one day. It's too much. It's not the kind of place where you come and you're there for like 10 minutes. It's a full day thing. We got here early this morning, about midday, and it's gone 4 now, so it's a full day thing and you don't do it the same day as the museum. Just trust me.